Tell me about your vision.
Well, I have a vision in several regards. One is a vision for how our planet can continue to make progress, both environmentally and socially. And I think that has a lot to do with learning the skills associated with conflict resolution and communication, sort of the civility that allows people to listen and be empathetic. The other vision has to do with continue to work and engage people and inspire people uh, to around the themes in my book, thriving. Um, this is a this is my book, and I've done a huge amount of public speaking and many dozens and dozens of podcasts, and I'm very excited about that because people have a lot of pain points. There's a lot of confusion people have. Everybody's story is, of course, different. Some people are doing fine, but a lot of people get resigned and they fall flat. And yes, this is especially difficult as they age. Uh, People can't wait to retire, but then how do they fill their time then? And a lot of the experience I've had, having been on many boards, about 18 boards, and having worked for 3 decades with people who've run their own companies and helped them as an investment banker with transactions, is there's a lot of sticking points, a lot of points in time through transitions when people just really don't know how to navigate forward. And that's really what my book is about. That's really what this is, kind of a compass for getting through those pain points, the stuckness, the uncertainties, the figuring out how to be the kind of person you want to be.
So, your book, is it limited to a certain field or it applies in all areas of your life?
Well, I guess people would tell me the more I focus, the more I'll penetrate a certain kind of listener and a market, and I certainly can appreciate that. But for me, in my experience so far over the last year and a half, has been this is a book that's resonating, and my story is resonating with people in all stages of life, from high school all the way to retirement homes and everything in between. A lot of people are asking me questions about retirement, and I said, well, first thing is don't use that word, use rewirement, because rewiring allows you to think of a new you and a new
Excellent.
chapter, a new act that you can engage with more freedom. Maybe the stronger, newer you is going to show up in a great way. So it covers that. To me, thriving, I have a very high level of talking about thriving. There are four parts. One part is thriving personally, and that's a very foundational aspect. It includes things like knowing yourself and building character, being grateful, having your emotions work well for you, and when they're not, you really have to dissect them, spend the time to figure out what to understand yourself, and then what to do about it. Create some options for yourself. It goes through all that. Having purpose, and you don't find purpose, you create purpose. It's a big distinction there. So that's the first, basically it's half the book. It's that foundational. But then it goes to thriving with others. And I say in the first part of the book that the most important relationship you'll ever have is the relationship you have with yourself. And hopefully the work that you can do on that will take care of some of those burdens and some of the pains and some of the heavy rocks you're lifting, and toss them out so you can be freer and happier with yourself. But then you move to this other phase, which is thriving with others. What is life without having relationships with others? Very few people want to go sit on the top of the mountain and meditate all day and not interact. I mean, there are some, but I've never met one. um, Part three then moves to thriving out in the world. And this includes being of service. This has been an absolute core to my life since high school. Finding things to be involved with to help either Mother Nature or other people in one way or another, and it gives my life so much meaning and so much happiness to do that work. But it also means being charitable and being philanthropic. And everybody can be giving a little of something, certainly their time and maybe a little financial resources, hopefully properly focused. So that's part three. Part four then is thriving as we move ever forward in life. And this is the invitation, basically, to gain wisdom. We all do. I mean, this is people are having experiences in life and they make mistakes and then they learn from them. And that's, in essence, what wisdom is, making good decisions. But it's also a process of being committed to evolving as a person. Now, if you look at yourself and you say, am I the same person I was 5 or 10 years ago? I'm hoping you're going to say no. I've learned these things. I've had new experiences. I've had new people come into my life. Maybe some other people left. I made some choices about that, and other other times I didn't make that choice. But the opportunity to look at yourself and say, "I am evolving. I am becoming a better person." Hemingway, Ernest Hemingway, once said. Nobility is not being superior to another person. True nobility is being superior to your former self, and that's what this fourth phase is. So, as I say, I have a very high bar for thriving. If you just did one of those four, I'm happy for you. That's good, and hopefully you start with the first one, thriving personally. But I don't really think, frankly, you can sustain any one of those driving elements without doing all four. And the beauty is that they're all interconnected, and they reinforce, they give you energy, they give you a sense of aliveness and vitality. And that's really, in a nutshell, Harry, what I'm engaging with people about.
That's awesome. Wow. Thank you for sharing that with me today, Rand.
Nice.
What yeah, what would you say is your why? What gets you out of bed every morning to do this?
Yeah, well, as I said a few minutes ago, being of service is a huge part of my almost basic DNA. I do things for myself. Absolutely, I take care of myself physically. I consider, my emotional health. I consider my spiritual health. All those things. I take care of my finances. Those are about me, and I have a lot of commitments that I make to me and my family, and I honor those. But going beyond that, what gives me the energy is this commitment to get out in the world and make this world a better place for the little bit that I can contribute.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. I think a lot of times, at least for me, like people get caught up in the things of how big of a monster you're trying to fight to make the world a better place, but they don't focus on the small aspects, the small change that you can make to make someone's life better instead of everyone's life better. So I
Great point.
yeah,
Great point. It's not about the big headlines.
yeah.
It's absolutely not. It's about you just getting the recognition. You see that what you did put a smile on somebody's face, made them real in some way or another. Maybe it's an animal, maybe it's the environment you're living in. Something you know that this was a good thing, and you helped. And maybe you get feedback, maybe you get a thank you, and maybe you don't. That's okay. You just have to know that it's okay. Hopefully you've got support in your life. You've built that and you've invested in it, and people say, hey, look, I just saw you and that was amazing. I'm so pleased to know you for who you are.
Yeah. Rand, would you say that maybe at a certain point there's a story or the story that's behind your why that made you start on this path of the writing the book Thriving, or more so living the book Thriving?
Yeah, thank you for that distinction, Harry. Yes, I am trying to live it. There was a time about a year and a half ago where I developed, I think it was an autoimmune reaction to, I don't know, spider bite or something. And boy, I was in the most physical pain I'd been in a very long time. And I thought, how can I be the poster child for this book Thriving when I'm in such pain, when I can't sleep through the night? When all the things I'm telling people I'm not currently living. I had for a long, long time, and I am again, fortunately, back into that place. But I've had to work very hard to regain that that health, that physical health, which of course translates quickly into your emotional health. So, is there one thing? I like to say that I picked really good parents. uh, my father is a person who is has a huge moral compass and is a very disciplined guy. And those two, amongst a variety of others, were great gifts. He also taught me to have friends of all ages, and I'm very delighted to say I have friends who are older than I am and people who are less than half my age, and it just enriches my life absolutely, and it gives me a chance to share with them things as well, both whether they're younger or older. So my dad's amazing. He passed away last August, but he's here. He's here with me. Whenever I think of him, I can hear his voice. He was buried at Arlington National Cemetery, and rightfully so, after a huge commitment, a service commitment to our country. And I have a fantastic mom. She taught me to read. She is a scientist, so she loves learning how things work. She's very curious. She loves animals. She loves nature, and both of them are about service. That's the message. So I saw this growing up, and it affected me. The kind of service I do is very different than the service they've done, and that's fine. I'm me. I built me on top of this great foundation of what I learned from them. Uh, but I think I have to add that I've had to overcome some difficulties, and I think those forged the additional strength of being the kind of person and committed to being an even better person. Um, and I'm thankful to have had that. I don't think people do a great job if everything comes easily. I think whether we like it or not, the biggest things in our lives are because of difficulties that we've overcome.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Tell me more about some of those difficulties. I think our audience will love to hear your story, like what you went through.
Well, I think there are several I've talked about. One, since I mentioned my father, amazing person, a towering figure, but also maybe kind of like old bull, new bull. We had a tough time. It was very hard. It was not until I was well into my 40s that I realized he was not going to change. This relationship I had, which was really tense and difficult, was not providing what I needed. I needed to change. And so I began listening to him more. I began respecting him more. I was willing to hear him tell me for the many tenth time a story I'd heard before. But I was patient and I asked questions, and that changed the relationship with him. And that was huge. It also made me realize that he is who he is, and I can learn from him and learn from mistakes he's made or learn from things that he's doing that I didn't want to do. So that was another kind of an interesting way to think about learning. But that was good, and I felt really good about shifting and making that relationship a valuable relationship. Um, I would say another thing is starting my own company. To start my own company, I was working for one of the big investment banking firms, Wall Street based firms. I'd been doing that for a dozen years, different firms, and I realized I really didn't like it. I had a boss that was not the right boss for me. I hated meetings, and I thought to myself, well, wow, maybe I should just change careers. Maybe I should become a forest ranger. And I went through a process that took several years that was about identifying really what mattered to me. And what I realized was I was really good at what I do as an investment banker: transactions, negotiating, building relationships, clarifying objectives. These were things I was really good at, and I liked to do it, but I had to do it on my terms. So I created my own firm. And so no more meetings. It was great. And I could pick my clients, and I could pick the focus for what we offered to our clients. And that was a huge win, a huge win. Absolutely. Um, and I think another big obstacle was the one I mentioned about the physical thing. This autoimmune disease that I've had since my early 20s, and it became there have been times it's a stress released thing. So the career I've had just stimulated more of these things, but I've had to, see it coming. When I got into a very stressful situation, I said, I need to take care of myself more. I need to, put in my schedule more sleep time. I need to maybe go for a massage, do some meditating. And I injected those things. And so instead of doing them just as they were about to lead to a problem, I said, well, bring this into my everyday kind of life. And so I did. And I have a lot of energy, a huge amount of energy. And biologically, I test about 12 years younger than my chronological age. And people are amazed. I said, it's hard to believe that you're doing what you're doing. You're doing all these things. I said, because they are worth doing, and they give me, it defines a reason, as you were saying, to get up in the morning and get going.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. I think if I look at the most fulfilling times in my life, Rand, I think they have been based around, I think, servicing more people.
Yeah,
Like nothing else, I think, even comes close to
yeah,
fulfilling than that did. Thank you
bravo.
for yeah, thank you for your time with us today, Rand. I had a great time talking to you. Your stories are inspiring.
Thank you.
And I think our audience will enjoy some of what you mentioned and apply to their lives. Um, all you guys, we have heard from Rand Selling today, the author of Thriving. You can find him on his website, randselig.com. And we'll for sure hear from him again in the next coming episode.
Thank you for being here today. I'm really happy that you tuned in to Vision Pros Live. I'm looking forward to seeing your reactions as these episodes continue to move forward. This is going to get more and more fun. We'll have more and more engagement as well. We'll invite people to participate in the show. And thank you for giving us your time and attention. Have an excellent time building out your vision and becoming a Vision Pro yourself.